Hello, Namaste everyone. Har Har Mahadev. I hope you guys are doing well. Today we are going to discuss about Venus being in Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra. So to be honest, I'm super excited for this video because this is one of the brilliant nakshatras. I feel as a part of my research into the nakshatras, I somehow feel that this is the most beautiful nakshatra. So it will be lovely talking about it, and definitely we are going to have so much to talk about this. All right. So before we move ahead, if you guys are new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get regular updates whenever a video is posted. Also, if you would like to have your personal readings from me, you can check out the link in the description box www.anmolastrology.com. Under the readings and unique reading section, you can book a personal reading for yourself. Very soon, the course of the complete predictive technique will also be uploaded over the website, and you can directly purchase it and go ahead, learn, because there's so much about the nakshatras also in that course, and especially the hero of that course, the Tribhagi. All right, so let's move ahead with this video. Let's talk about Venus in Purva Bhadrapada today. Before I move ahead and talk about what are the predictions, let's just first understand that what would this video give to you? Because many times people have confusion that whether are you talking about my spouse if I have Venus in Purva Bhadrapada, or are you talking about me? See, first of all, primarily, this is your Kundali. This is your horoscope. So it is going to represent you, how you react in love, how you are devoted in love. What is the karma around love and relationships for you? What is the money matters? What is the luxury for you? And further, it would also depict the traits of your spouse, especially if Venus is either your Dharakarka or it is your seventh lord. But for the men, Venus is absolutely and very important to be represented for as their wives or as their female counterparts. For a female, Venus would still represent their spouse because Venus is the natural significator of the seventh house. So it is your spouse, it is your relationships as well. And for females, we also use collectively Jupiter and Mars. Then the seventh lord is all for the male and the female both. But for them, we use Jupiter and Mars collectively as well. All right. So in this video, with Venus in the nakshatra of Purva Bhadrapada, you're going to get to know about the traits of your spouse. I will mention whenever I'll talk about them. Then it would represent your career or your income as well, because Venus naturally rules the second and the seventh house. So, second house is your relationship with your family, your assets, your money matters, the way you spend, the way you save, the what possessions that you have. Then then it is also going to represent the seventh house, your partner, your partnerships, your relationships, your and also your finances, specifically with the second house. All right. So that's all what this Venus is going to represent. So starting for the Purva Bhadrapada, it it is, you know, it lies into the zodiac belt of Aquarius and Pisces, from 20 degrees of Aquarius till 3 degrees and 20 minutes of Pisces. So first of all, we are going to have two dimensions of this nakshatra. One that falls into the zodiac sign of Aquarius, where we have the influence of Saturn. One where we have the influence of Jupiter itself when it falls into the early degrees of Pisces. All right. So, very first, let's talk about how Venus in Purva Bhadrapada is going to act onto the side of Aquarius, and then how it is going to react onto the side of Pisces. So, on the side of Aquarius, we have the influence of Venus in the zodiac sign of Saturn and in the nakshatra of Jupiter. So that means that there is a combination of Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter. This particular domain is more restricted. It is more about responsibility. It's more about a person owning and structuring their wisdom and structuring their knowledge and taking on the supportive responsibility of the others. Then on to the side of Pisces, it has more of the water element. It's more spiritual, but it's very confusing as well because now we have the double energy of Jupiter to be attached with Shukra. So definitely there's a lot of knowledge on the side of Pisces. There's a lot of lot of sensitivity, lot of emotions and emotional burning. There's a lot of confusion, spiritual transformation, spiritual changes on the side of Pisces. So, by this way, this particular Venus differentiates. When Venus is onto the side of Aquarius, a person is more concerned with the futuristic element and they are more practical in regards of relationships and with their devotion. When it is onto the side of Pisces, it has to do more with emotions. Here, practicality somehow is not present. So it's more about you finding the solutions within the ocean. That is all what is Pisces about. So we'll still come to how this is differentiated in these two zodiac signs further down the lane. But let's first talk about what this nakshatra is about so that we can know better and more. So, Purva Bhadrapada. First of all, the planet that rules this nakshatra is Jupiter. So, you'll always see the nakshatras of Jupiter always have the greatest karma. And this karma is not exactly the karmic situation, but it's the lessons. It's the life lessons. It's the wisdom that you get. And whenever it's Jupiter, see, you will always hear Jupiter, the guru, the blessings, the fortune. I'm not disagreeing to this fact. Jupiter definitely is the most fortunate planet. Wherever it aspects, it will just give you um you know so much of blessing, so much of fortune. It has the capacity to expand, but where it sits, or if it is about the nakshatra, the primary goal of it is to give you wisdom. The primary goal of it is to make you understand what is your responsibility in this life. What is your karmic responsibility? What is the area that is going to make you feel heavier? So, whenever you have any planet in the nakshatra of Jupiter, you would know that the significance of that planet is heavier in your chart. So, when it is Venus in Purva Bhadrapada, you would know that the heaviness would come, the responsibility would come with love, with relationships in your life. So, relationships are going to be the ones which are going to give you the fortune, going to give you, I'm really sorry, going to give you blessings. It is absolutely going to give you the money as well, the luxury as well, because this makes one of the Dhani yogas with Venus being deposited into the nakshatra of Jupiter and in a very futuristic and promising sign of Aquarius. So it definitely opens your doors, especially on the Aquarius side. It opens your doors with opportunities to create money. On the side of Pisces, it creates the door of fortune with money because Pisces is the natural zodiac sign of blessings, of money and luxury, and the ability to spend and donate. So that's the reason this particular nakshatra is the nakshatra of abundance as well. But on the side of Aquarius, it would bring the opportunities for you to self create that because of the influence of Saturn. That's the major component of difference between these two sides with the same nakshatra and with Jupiter. So, with Jupiter as the ruler of this nakshatra, it also will give you wisdom associated with relationships. That means that relationships are not something very easy to deal with. You will have to ultimately act as a guru, or you always desire your partner to be a person who has the wisdom, not just the wisdom that is about religion, that is about spirituality, but also the wisdom of how the survival works in the surroundings, how this land, how this earth works, how the relationships works. And also, one thing I've seen whenever there's an association or influence of Jupiter with Venus, there's a heavy responsibility on the part of the extended family as well. Whether it's your close relatives or it's your distant relatives, it's always there. All right. So this makes this the ruling of Jupiter makes this nakshatra abundant. It makes it wisdom oriented, learning oriented. These individuals, and especially like you as a person, and also your spouse as a person, is going to be highly knowledgeable, spiritual, and wisdom oriented. You guys are going to value your responsibilities. But that's the journey that you are set on. So do not expect you to be very responsible person, maybe in your 13, 14, and very young age. But that's the theme that is led forward. And as soon as a relationship is introduced in your life, that's the point, that's the moment when it actually plays out. So, with Jupiter as the ruler of this nakshatra, this also means that this is the nakshatra of excellent advisors. These are the individuals who can give excellent advice to manage money, to manage luxury, and to manage one's savings and the income. These people do extremely well at managerial or consultancy positions. With Jupiter as the Lord, this person is an excellent counselor, excellent advisor when it comes to finances and money, and also sometimes relationships, but that might come around at least after 21st year of age. So also you would see, especially on the side of Aquarius, but it doesn't mean that it is not present on the side of Pisces, but you would see that these people would have so many desires. They have huge expanded desires and goals into their life because Jupiter is an extravagant planet. It's a huge appetite planet. So when it comes and Venus comes into its this nakshatra, it will always desire everything to be huge. If you buy something, if you buy a luxury, you would want to buy a huge set of, either this is something royal, like for example, if you want to buy a car, you would prefer an XUV, you would prefer a luxurious car over a normal day-to-day working car, right? So they opt for royalty, they opt for luxury. At the same time, they can be actually very stingy when it comes to spending as well. It's like that they save for such a long time for their future goals to get, completed. So they are very strategic when it comes to money, when it comes to finances. Now, next, that this nakshatra's deity is Aja Ekapada. And while we are talking about the deity, we are not we are not just going to talk about the Aja Ekapada, but we would talk about the Narsimha, we would talk about the Nataraj, because all of these, and we would also talk about Ma Kali, Ma Sati, because this is a nakshatra which has its bits going all over the places with all these avatars. So Aja Ekapada is one of the 11 Rudra avatar of Lord Shiva. Aja Ekapada, if you'll see, it's a one-legged deity with a goat face, with the four arms, also holding the trident. Or you can just see and analyze that this is the figure of the Nataraj. It is the figure of the Rudra avatar of Lord Shiva. You know, the one-legged deity represents that these people would always have to bring in balance within their relationships. Venus being into the nakshatra ruled by Aja Ekapada, that means they're always standing on one foot. Always standing on one foot. What does it mean? You have to always be alert in your relationships. You always have to connect your consciousness, your conscious mind, subconscious with your conscious mind. Because you need to be alert, you need to be prepared, you need to be, there, that you're always in Hindi that we say, ek tang pe khada hai. Like when someone is being very impatient and someone is trying to pursue or tell someone like do this, yeah, I'm okay, I'm standing here, do this for me, like a person is becoming impatient, then we say ek tang pe khada hai. And that's what this nakshatra represents. So in their amateur or immature age, these people are very, very impatient. And that's how they learn their wisdom to become patient. Because these are the individuals you'll see, the most patient individuals and the most practical ones on the side of Aquarius, the most practical ones. So the Aja Ekapada avatar is the avatar where a person has to always stand on one foot to get their things done. And one of the things that you'll see with this nakshatra is that they always want a reason for living. They want a reason. Since Venus is there, they want a reason with love. It's like, this nakshatra is also associated with Mata Sati, her ability to meditate, her ability to do the tapasya, the tapas to get Lord Shiva. All the sacrifices, even the sacrifice of the body that she did to obtain the love of Lord Shiva. So this represents that the people with Venus in this nakshatra, they will have to do that tapas. They would have to do that tapasya, that meditation, or you can say that wait, that patience to get the right partner. Because with Venus and Purva Bhadrapada, these are not the easiest people to deal with. If you think that you can be the partners of an individual with Venus and Purva Bhadrapada and you can do absolutely anything, then you are wrong. Because these are the people who will pinpoint you out that this is not that we deserve, this is not that we have signed up for. So that's why these people are willing to wait for the one. They're willing to wait for the one that they love, and they're willing to do that tapasya, that sacrifice for the ones that they love, whether it's their partner, whether it's their family members. And you would see that once you get married, once you get introduced to your spouse is also going to be one of the individuals who's going to be very dedicated, devoted, and who's willing to do that tapasya for you. So this is a beautiful nakshatra. It's said that this nakshatra has the ability to burn you through the fire for you to understand the transition between the materialistic life to the spiritual life. So absolutely, with a person is with Venus in Purva Bhadrapada, you would start your journey with materialistic. Understanding. Because in your life, in your home environment, you have understood how important money is, how important the practical materialistic side of life is. That's why you developed your understanding, your goals in a certain way, that materialistic goals were the most important for you. And when it's about looking for a person, it's about looking for a partner. Initially, you would always desire a partner who is good on papers, who is responsible towards you, and all the practical things you can think of, who is beautiful, beautiful looking, who has, good existence, everything that you can think of. But with the transitions that they go through within their love, within their relationships, they understand the spirituality. And these are the Aghoris. That's the reason that this has the deity to be one of the Rudras, because these are the Aghoris like Ardras, Mulas. They might start with very rich, like take an example of a very rich multi-billionaire or millionaire individual who then turns into a saint or into a monk. That is the kind of journey these people have with Moon in Purva Bhadrapada, Venus in Purva Bhadrapada. So the Nataraj form. The Nataraj form of Lord Shiva, or the Rudra avatar of Lord Shiva, basically represents the wrath that these people have. I hope I'm pronouncing it correct. So the wrath that these individuals, the aggression that these individuals that have within them. This is a nakshatra which has the ability to fight for the wrong. So with Venus in this nakshatra, you will not take any wrongful act from anyone when it comes to relationship, when it comes to anyone taking benefit of you when it comes to relationship and love. You're willing to stand up for what's wrong. And that's your journey. That's your journey to understand that how important it is to stand for what is wrong and what wrongdoings are being done in the surroundings. That's why these are going to be the excellent activists. With Purva Bhadrapada, there's a strong association, especially with Venus and Purva Bhadrapada, career wise. Or let's come to the career towards the very end so that I can, put a timestamp to it. But with Purva Bhadrapada, you'll see the most innovative individuals, the most strategic and futuristic individuals. That's why they have excellent abilities to become a scientist. Scientists and especially on the side of Aquarius, on the side of Pisces, excellent medical practitioners. So the Nataraj avatar shows their aghoriness, their wrath, their aggression, that when they are being challenged in love, when they are being challenged in relationships, they can come they can come out with their destructive self. And especially on the side of Pisces, it's a very unpredictable and very destructive aggression. All right. And we did talk about Mata Sati, we did talk about Aja Ekapada and the single legged. And one thing I've observed very strongly and very closely with Purva Bhadrapada, because I have some people, closely associated, and they are Purva Bhadrapadas, that somehow na, they have a habit of standing upon one leg. They fold their other leg, or while even sleeping, they while even sitting anywhere, they have a tendency to fold one leg, so all the pressure, all the responsibility comes onto one leg, and that leg goes numb, and then they struggle to get that leg back in life. So that is also one thing I've always seen these people, their karma strongly is associated with bringing in balance within their love and relationships, within their relationship with the family as well. So, family, income, the marriage, these are going to be the areas which are always going to seem disbalanced or unbalanced. And there's always going to be the need to balance these sides or these categories of their life because of the one-footed, deity of this nakshatra. They always have to be up there. They always have to be present in all these dynamics. All right. Now, let's talk about, just a second, let's talk about the symbol of this nakshatra. Okay, before we go ahead with this nakshatra, actually, I've written the key points here so that I don't miss anything. So, in this nakshatra, we also have the Narsimha avatar. The Narsimha avatar had to come, Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, the greatest Vishnu had to come in the avatar of Lord Narsimha to protect Prahlad, right? So this shows their tendency to give the protection to children. They have their absolute love for children and absolute love to protect children or protect others like children. And it's said that Aquarius is the wild side of the Cancer zodiac sign. So it's actually fiercely protective, way more than Cancer. So that's what this nakshatra basically represents. The Narasimha avatar, the half lion and half, you know, the standing lion, the half man, that is the avatar that had to come and kill the Hiranyakashap. You know, neither it was day nor it was night. It was at the very entrance of the palace, and he killed him with his claws, not with any weapon, not with anything else. So that was basically the conditions of the boon that the Hiranyakashapa had. And then Lord Vishnu had to come in the avatar of Narasimha to protect Prahlad and to win over the demon, win over the asura, win over the ego. Relationships in your life is going to be something which is going to make you win over your own ego. So never take pride of your relationships. Never take pride of the money that you make. You will see that it karmically comes back around the moment you do something very pridefully and for the wrong of someone else because of these things. So never feel overconfident of all these factors. Then Ma Kali. Purva Bhadrapada is strongly associated with Ma Kali and Ma Durga also. For Ma Durga, it is because the animal that is associated with this nakshatra, that is a male lion. We'll come to that next. But Ma Kali, Purva Bhadrapada individuals, especially with Moon, with Venus, they should preach and pray to Ma Kali. You see how fierce avatars are basically associated with this nakshatra. That is associated because this is the nakshatra which has the highest potential to turn into spiritual individuals, into the individuals who can break the boundaries. Because this nakshatra, falling into the sign of Aquarius, also has the influence of Rahu. All right. So with Ma Kali, this also shows that these people in their life will have the tendency when it comes to love, when it comes to relationships, for they have to fight above the demons. They have to fight above the societal realms, the rules that are made in the society, which are not for the rights of others. So these are the individuals who can absolutely fight for the rights of the others. And with Ma Kali, that's the, that's the temperament that they have when they see anything wrong happening in their surroundings. All right. So now And one more thing, I might come to that in the remedial measure, but let's also talk about that here. With a person with Venus in Purva Bhadrapada, if you are experiencing problems in love, if you're experiencing problems with your relationships, that is because you must have, disrespected a woman in your life. With Purva Bhadrapada, this comes as a responsibility, whether you are a male or a female. This comes as the utmost responsibility in your life that you have to you have to be very respectful towards women. The more you respect the women that you have in your life, the more you're going to flourish in your life. Trust me on this. You have to treat them as your gurus. You have to treat them as your God. Just take care of them. Just respect them. Do not disrespect any women in your life. That's the curse that Purva Bhadrapada individual, especially the ascendant or the Venus or the moon or even Saturn, that they carry. All right. Now, the animal of this nakshatra is the male lion. You see the male lion, how lazy the male lion is? That's why you will see a bit of laziness within these individuals. They would always want to make money. They would absolutely have this inclination that they want to make huge amounts of money. They want to have relationship, but they don't want to put in that effort. Just like a male lion just just, no, and why I'm saying male lion, it's lion doesn't want to go out and ask people or ask or negotiate or make any deals. Lion wants to sit on its throne and let people come to him. So that's why in love, in partnership, this also depicts the uh, non-initiating attitude of these individuals. And that is something which acts as a weakness or a trait that lacks for these individuals. So another remedy would be that you must make an effort. You must make an effort in your relationships. You must make an effort towards, especially your responsibilities with Jupiter to be the planet who rules this nakshatra. And we always talk about things, we always talk about predictions with a particular set of nakshatra, but always understand if a nakshatra gets afflicted, if Venus is in this nakshatra but has a lot of affliction, then the predictions are going to be different. Like the basis is going to be same, but yet different. Like for example, if we talked about that these people have the ability to fight for the children, to protect them. If this nakshatra is highly afflicted, if this Venus is highly afflicted, then these can be the people who will actually create a situation which is going to be unhealthy for children, that can actually affect their relationship with children. So what we are talking about, every nakshatra, that is if this is unafflicted. If it is afflicted, then just add on the fact that there is going to be a strong karma associated with that particular nakshatra and in a negative sense. All right. So with the lion to be this nakshatra's uh, animal, these people have that laziness, but they always want to work for a goal. They have entrepreneurship skills and they can be excellent entrepreneurs. That's why you'll see most of the CEOs, directors, most of the people who represent themselves in front of large populations to make innovative changes, like scientists, like, tech company guys or owners. Those are the individuals who would have Venus in Purva Bhadrapada. That's why these are the kind of professions that you will also see in your partner. This can also be your own profession as well. Lion has a habit to hunt as well, to lunge on the attackers as well, to hunt for his food as well. So with this nakshatra or any nakshatras which are associated with lioness, tiger, tigress, they have a tendency to hunt for opportunities. With Venus, they have a tendency to hunt for love, for relationships. So they always need a constant interaction with the partner, with the partnership in their relationship, but they always want the other one to approach them. That is also one of the things. Now, let's talk about the symbols of this nakshatra. So, the very first symbol of this nakshatra, because we have too many to talk about here. So, very first is the two-faced man. That basically shows the duality of this nakshatra. How this nakshatra is so dual. That means one face is visible and one is the secretive self of these individuals. So you will see with Venus in this nakshatra, these people have duality in the way they interact in love and relationships. I have seen Venus and Purva Bhadrapada totally unafflicted to be the ones who can actually be quite introvert in the beginning, but they are the smart people who might have two or more relationships at the same time. But I'm not talking about everyone. I'm just trying to make you understand that how they have a duality and secrecy when it comes to love and relationships. So for a Purva Bhadrapada individual, since it's the first nakshatra, it's the Purva nakshatra. Not the first, but the Purva nakshatra, it's more about experimenting. So I won't say that these are not the loyal partners. These are absolutely the loyal partners. But in the age of immaturity, in the age or initial age, you know, of experimenting, they might have more than one relationship or they might hold a lot of secrets in regards of their relationships. And especially on the side of Aquarius, they also have to be very careful with sexual encounters because of the strong influence of Saturn and Rahu along with Venus and Jupiter. So that basically makes them turn their uh, expectations out of love and relationships out of fear. Those expectations come out of fear. And onto the side of Pisces, their expectations come out of the addiction or dependency. So that is also one of the things. So the dual face shows the duality of this nakshatra. The duality that some traits of these people will always be hidden. And this is something you will see in your spouse as well. That something about them or their interest will always be hidden because this is a very eccentric nakshatra. Where this nakshatra is placed in the zodiac belt, that is a very eccentric zone. So they have a very eccentric side of relationships. Like, some people who can be too practical with what they want in a partner, or what kind of I'm saying a very crucial thing, but what kind of sexual activity they want to have with a partner. So that they have a very eccentric mind when it comes to the very unorthodox understanding to it. And the second symbol that we have is the two swords, you know. So the sword shows the sharpness of this nakshatra, the sharpness and the ability to be ready to cut. So that's why a fierce nakshatra and Venus to be in this nakshatra, it's like that if you mess with a person with Venus in Purva Bhadrapada, they will cut you off. They will ghost you. With not, just because they know that they have so much potential and love to give. So if you cannot reciprocate it, they're going to cut you off. from their life. They are going to forgive and never forget. Sorry, they are going to not forgive and forget. So that's what this nakshatra's symbol represents. So we have two faces, two swords. Then this nakshatra represents the front leg of the funeral cot. This represents their ability to always have interest into death and rebirth. With relationships, these people have a tendency to always dig deep into their partners, their partnerships. These are the individuals who might not ask you anything upfront, but always keep tabs on you. This is an excellent detective nakshatra. The nakshatra that has the ability to be an excellent detective, excellent researcher. They would know everything without even you knowing anything. So if a Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra individual with Venus in Purva Bhadrapada, if that person is leaving you today, it's not that something that you did today. It might be something that has been done long ago, but now they have observed a lot, they have sacrificed a lot, they have suppressed a lot of emotions, and now they are on the verge that now I'm going to leave you. And this is something which is going to be very similar in Uttara Bhadrapada as well. That's the amount of things, amount of emotions they can hold because of the presence of Ma Kali, Ma Durga here. How a mother, how a feminine figure, a mother can suppress so many emotions, so many secrets inside, and can still do so many sacrifices for you. Before the vessel is full, now is overflowing, before they just stop giving in. That's what this nakshatra is about. All right. So with the front legs of funeral cot, this also is the representation of their transformation from the materialistic world to the spiritual world. So relationship and marriage in your life acts as that trigger point, acts as that transformative point in your life where you transition from a materialistic person to a spiritual individual. All right. So now let's talk about the appearance and traits of your partner with Venus in Purva Bhadrapada. With you having Venus in Purva Bhadrapada, your partner can, first of all, with Venus in Purva Bhadrapada, it gives average to tall height, lean constitute, sharp nose, and even sharp features. With the animal as the male lion, it is going to give plumpy and fluffy or curly hair with a strong, charming presence. So your partner is going to have such a presence. Their eyes can be hazel, light brown, or dark brown also. With Purva Bhadrapada, your partner can have a dusky skin tone or olive undertone. A person who always loves to stand on one foot, 1 feet, is or appears to be secretive in the beginning and always have something hidden, but is extremely practical when it comes to money. On the side of Pisces, on the side of Pisces, there can be a little bit of plumpiness onto their skin or even in their body structure. Earlier I was talking about Aquarius. With Aquarius, it's on the leaner side. With Pisces, it's on a little plumpier side. In both the zodiac signs, these people are very research oriented. They love to go through criminal shows, detective, criminology, all of that subjects. They love to learn about that. With Purva Bhadrapada, your profession or your partner's profession. Can be into real estate, especially onto the something associated with construction, where cement, bricks, all of that is required. Science, scientific, like can be scientists, can even be astrologers or Vastu consultants. With Purva Bhadrapada, IT sector, innovative in IT, AI, artificial intelligence, anything that makes you make some futuristic changes or futuristic goal, complete futuristic goals. That's Purva Bhadrapada. Can also be medical practitioners, medical professions could also be a part of it. All right. Now, remedies. First and foremost remedy that I would say for a person with Venus in Purva Bhadrapada, if you're struggling within your relationships, or even if you're not, you need to respect women. You need to take care of women in your life. You need to fight and stand up for women in your life. Second, remedy would be you can keep a brass lion in the south direction of your home, and always decide for the direction by standing in the very middle of your whole plot or whole land or even apartment. So in the direct south, a brass lion. Try to be as punctual as possible, as disciplined as possible. All right, guys. So this was my analysis regarding your Venus in Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra. I hope this has given you good insights. And please, if you are researching on your Venus, don't just stop here, because nakshatras have so much of information. They have so much of things that you would discover every time, you would have observe every time you learn something about it. So this was just that I could have given in a short span of time, the information that I could have given. So yeah, that's about it. So this was my analysis. I hope this helps you guys, and we'll see you with the next video. Till then, bye bye. Take care.